understanding the relationship between sustainability and economy, obviously, which is the interest of businessmen, every businessman. That is why, obviously, we are discussing it. The traditional economic business model is predicted on making money, right? It is based on largely single-use linear model, extracting raw materials, converting them into products, selling these products to a final consumer. That is you, that is me, that is all of us. And then once the useful life of the product is over, it is discarded, right, as a waste into the environment. So it is a linear model, that is conventional model. However, these behaviors cannot be maintained forever, right? Since the availability of many of the world's natural resources is limited, and hence eventually some raw material, or I presume many of the raw materials, will not be available, or will be available only at a higher, much higher prices as they become rare or scarce. So in order to tackle this approach, one of the approach is triple bottom line, TBL, that we have discussed in our previous sessions, which is a concept which consider a business to be sustainable if it takes into account three pillars of sustainability, which are environmental, social, and economic. Obviously, we have already discussed about TBL, but just to jog up your memory, I'm just briefly going to explain the three pillars of the TBL, or the three main points of the TBL. Now, the TBL deals with three P's, that is profit. Obviously, every business is based on profit, right? If they are not getting any profit, the business men would not operate their business. So, profit is the main concept in the concept of economy. But the TBL, that is triple bottom line, consists of two more aspects as well, which consist of people and planet. Now, according to the Diligent Corporation Chief Executive Officer Brian Stafford, that it is essential for all the organizations to address ECG, that is environment, social, and governance, which is the main point of the main concept of the sustainability, or the concept of triple bottom line, or the concept, related concept, that is CSR, which we also have already discussed in our previous sessions, like corporate social responsibility. It also has three principles, that is environment, economy, and society, obviously. So it is essential to interrelate these both of these aspects, or both of these concepts, and it is essential for all the organization to address the ECG by using what? CSR, the concept of CSR, and the concept of triple bottom line. And many organizations nowadays, because of the increasing concern regarding the scarcity of the resources, because of the concepts like global warming, because of the concepts like climate change, the people and the organizations are becoming very concerned that what would be the future of our companies, our organizations, or the future of the earth. So they are very much concerned with these aspects, or these concepts of TBL and CSR, and they are acting upon it. For example, we have Lego company. You must have heard that they form children toys like puzzle pieces and stuff like that. So the Lego group has formed partnership with organizations like WWF, that is World Wildlife Fund. In addition, Lego has made a commitment to reducing its carbon footprint and is working towards 100% renewable energy capacity by 2030. In addition to partnering with WWF, the Lego Group also has pledged to transition to renewable bioplastics. The first plant-derived set of Lego toys was launched in 2019. The second company, international company, that is giving a chance to the CSR or the TBL is Mars, the chocolate brand, which is obviously your favorite, my favorite, everyone's favorite. Mars also has a sustainable cocoa initiative called Cocoa for Generations. It requires cocoa farmers to be fair trade certified to ensure they follow a code of fair treatment to workers providing labor. In exchange for certifications, Mars provide productivity, technology, and buys cocoa at premium prices. The third is Procter and Gamble, the very famous organization that has, I guess, its foot in every aspect of our lives, every product that we use in our daily life. So the Procter and Gamble is also setting foot into sustainability in order to improve the lives of the people, improve the lives of their employees as well. They are committed to pursuing net zero environmental impact by 2040 and improve livelihood across their entire supply chain. Please excuse a minute. I hope you all are getting the slides from my side. Okay. Now, we have already talked about that sustainable development goals given by the United Nations. We are also aware about the diminishing resources, which is leading us to the overshoot days. That is the day every year where the earth is unable to regenerate the resources that we have already utilized, right? So it is essential to create a check and balance. Any aspect or any concept to create a check and balance on the use of resources, how we are using our resources, how any business or an organization is using the resources. So it is very essential. So related to this concept that in order to check and create a check and balance on the usage of our resources, we have a concept called integrated reporting. Now, integrated reporting is inspired by the initiative that was put forward by the movement of the International Integrated Reporting Council, that is IIRC, and it described itself as a global coalition of regulators, investors, companies, standard setters, the accounting professions, and NGO, basically various stakeholders. Now, integrated reporting measures corporate assets across a broader spectrum. Integrated reporting actually attempts to quantify 6 corporate assets, which are generally or usually known as 6 capitals, which include what? On your screen, you can see that financial, manufacture, human, social, and relationship, and intellectual and nature. These are the 6 capitals that are discussed, that are utilized in the concept of integrated reporting for the concept of sustainability or CSR, corporate social responsibility. Now, the integrated reporting actually looks at how these 6 capitals transform themselves into outcomes, how the strategy, the managers or the organizations perform in an organization is leading to the creation of the value of all these 6 capitals with the passage of time, by taking into consideration the external context of the organization as well, which include what? The environment, the stakeholders, and the competitors. Now, these 6 capitals were not always 6 initially. The concept starts with first 4 capital model, which was put forth by the Ekins in 1992, and it included the concepts manufacturing, human, social, and natural capital. Now, the manufactured capital is what you are conventionally or traditionally know as the capital. that is the produce assets that are used to produce other goods and services, like your machines, your tools, your buildings, your infrastructures of any organization, of your business. These are all manufactured capital. These are included. The second one is natural capital. Now, the natural capital includes, obviously, as the name suggests, natural resources such as wood, water, energy, mineral reserve, could be metals, anything that we are getting from the nature. The next is human capital, which obviously, as the name suggests, that it includes the activities of the human, their health, their well-being, their mental capacity, their productive potential, etc. And the social capital obviously is related to the human capital, but here it is focusing not at the individual level, but at a societal level, or as a society as a whole, like social networks that support a very efficient and cohesive society, or maybe social and intellectual interaction between the members of the society. All of these are actually giving capital to the businesses, to the organizations, and considering them in the concept of CSR is very essential. Now, later on, this concept added some more aspects. That was 5 and 6 capital model of the integrated sustainable integrated reporting. Then what is it? That is financial, obviously money, the investment, how much you are investing, how much you are getting, all of it. And another one is intellectual capital, that includes the knowledge, the patents, the intellectual property, the innovation, the capabilities of the research and development team of any business, of an organization. So these are the 6 capitals which are very important in the integrated reporting. And these need to be considered when you are when an organization needs to develop, for example, is going towards sustainable development, or the TBL model, or the CSR, that is corporate social responsibility. They need to consider all 6 types of the capital, along with the external environment, along with the stakeholders, along with the what stakeholders are wishing for, what stakeholders want, and how much they are investing into your organization, and incorporating all these 6 aspects into each and every aspect of your business. For example, the inputs, for example, your business activities, for example, your outputs, and everything. Okay, only then you will be able to achieve the SDGs, that are sustainable development goals. And all of these 6 capitals are related to specific goals that are provided by the United Nations, those 17 SDGs, those 17 sustainable development goals present on their website. Now, next is also the concept that we have already discussed in our previous sessions, that are 4 pillars of the sustainability. Obviously, sustainability includes the human concept of human, that what is the impact of activities of an organization, of a business, of a company on the humans, on the social or the society, on the social interaction of the people, or the social living standards of the people. And obviously, economy is the must part of the any business model, right? And then obviously sustainable, the most important aspect, the sustainability deals with is environmental. And the importance of the sustainable development, as you can see on your screens, include reducing environmental impact, creating economic opportunities, like enhancing social equity, strengthening resilience to the climate change, preserving natural resources for the future generation, etc. these importance or the advantages of the sustainable development will be discussed. I will be discussing it later on in the next slides, in the form of the short-term advantages of the sustainability and the long-term advantages of the sustainability. Now, with the emergence of the concept of sustainability in the business, obviously the policymakers and the philosophers and everyone that is included in this whole concept of incorporating sustainability into the business thought it's best to modify the economic prospects as well, right? Because the previous or the original aspect of the economy do not include the benefits of the environment, they do not include the benefits of the people, they only include the benefits of the manufacturer, for example, or include the benefits of the businessman only, right? So currently the three main theoretical aspects of the business responsibilities are, you can see on your screens, include the three are new classical economic thinking, ecocentric worldview, and ecological modernization view. Now, the new classical thinking actually focus on the unlimited economic growth through increasing production and consumption. It is the most generalized concept that you think that businessmen think like, right? That manufacture, that get the resources from the environment, from the society, and then produce the product in any form, give out the services using all those natural resources, and then as a result, as a consequence, the people will consume all these resources. And this is the whole process. Just produce the products and then consume, produce, consume, produce, consume. And this is the only way that businessmen would be able to make profit. This is a neoclassical economic thinking. The only aspect or the only thing that they think is profit and efficiency maximization. Okay, this is the priority. But the later on, another theoretical aspect of the business responsibility arrived, that is ecocentric worldwide view. And according to this view, the purpose of the business is to increase. And according to this view, the purpose of the business is to, I hope all of you can hear me. I hope all of you can hear me.
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Now, the ecocentric worldview, according to the ecocentric worldview, the purpose of the business is to increase the quality of life and enhance the social equity. Human and non-human. It is this concept is actually focusing on the human and non-human species, all of it, environment as well as the people. And the strong focus of this worldview or this view is the waste management. Basically, the main priority of this view or aspect, theoretical aspect, is to protect the ecosystem, and it is the most essential thing a businessman should think about. Then, which is also actually not beneficial for the businessman, obviously, right? If he is only thinking about the environment and only thinking about the people, so he would not be able to obviously make profits, right? So the third one is the ecological modernization view, and it deals with what? That the businesses should pursue social, economic, and environmental goals for ethical and economic reasons. That is, finding a middle ground. That business need to make profit to exist, but do not exist just to make profit. So he needs to find, the businessman needs to find a middle ground between the ecological benefits as well as the the benefits related to his business. So these are the major theoretical aspects of the business responsibilities that is considered in the concept of sustainability and CSR and GBL. Now, as I already mentioned, that I would be discussing the advantages or the benefits of the sustainability later on. So this is these are the advantages. They can be divided into two types: short term as well as long terms. Now, the short term advantages include cost saving. Obviously, for example, you are trying to improve the energy consumption in the process of your businesses. Obviously, you're trying to improve the energy consumption in the process of your businesses, right? So you would be innovating new ideas or new sources of energy. So that would result in what? Saving of the cost, right? Now, the second short-term advantage of applying sustainability into the business would be the improved brand image. Because if a business is or an organization is demonstrating a commitment to sustainability, they can improve the public perception and obviously would get some loyal customers that are also thinking about the environment, because nowadays it's all about environment. It's all about green businesses. It's all about green everything, right? So a businessman would be able to enhance their brand image by using the concept of sustainability, by working on it. The third is avoidance of the legal charges or penalties. Obviously, legal compliance now, environmental regulations are everywhere. You have to meet those regulations in order to do your business, right? In order to sell your product. So these environmental regulations and standards would also help us avoid fines and sanctions. And obviously, if you are working for the sustainability concept, and obviously, as I already mentioned, that nowadays it's all about sustainability, it's all about green product, it's all about green sustainability. So the employees that are working with you in your businesses, your stakeholders obviously would be motivated that we are doing something good for the environment, for the people, and for the society. So this is one of the short-term benefits of applying sustainability into the business. Next, we have long-term advantages. Now, long-term advantages would be obviously benefit for the futures or maybe the generations of the people operating those businesses that are applying the concept of sustainability or CSR or the TBL. First is obviously future proofing. Obviously, for example, I will take the previous example that if you need to reduce the cost in terms of energy in your organization or in your product making services, so you would be devising or innovating new ways to produce energy. For example, instead of using fossil fuels for the energy consumption in your processes, you are installing solar panels, efficient solar panels. So what would these solar panel do? Obviously, it would be not only reducing the cost of the processing, but also it would be future proofing your business. That is, there will be, by adopting the sustainable practices, it would help the businessman, it would help the organization to prepare for the future challenges or future marketing challenges, right? And also, it would also help us help the businessmen ensure that they have a long-term availability of the natural resources. Obviously, if they are, for example, devising methods to produce new resources or a new concept. For instance, when plastic, obviously it's not sustainable, but when it was developed, when it came into the market, obviously it was considered a very efficient product that would be able to sustain a very, very, very long time. So what they were doing, they were actually, those factories or those companies that they were producing the plastic were actually future proofing their business or their companies or their organizations. By future proofing, obviously you would have advantages over your competitors, over your rival companies as well, because if you have sustainable product and they have not, obviously you would get more customers as compared to the other. Then those customers who are also uh, very concerned about the sustainability, very concerned about the ecosystem, uh, would be very loyal to you, your products, not to you, to your products. So they will, you will obviously able to get customer loyalty. And obviously, if you are innovating new and new ideas, new and new processes, for example, or new and new products that are environmentally safe, that are ecosystem friendly, so there would be obviously new opportunities for you, for your business, for your organization to gain a wider ground on into the markets. Then we have regulatory and legal advantages. Obviously, if you are complying to all those ecological uh, uh, regulations or standards, obviously you would get uh, you will not only be able to avoid the penalties, but also you would be able to maybe get the benefits or maybe get the profit out of these innovations or these concepts that you're going to make. Now, next we have a concept that discusses the impact on individual element on the value chain. That is, in your business, obviously the sustainability is not only about that how much product that you have manufactured is sustainable, but it's about each and every aspect, each and every step of the whole value chain, the whole processing unit, each and everything in the manufacturing of that product. So we have a model known as Porter model, which is very famous among the businessmen who aim to achieve and sustain competitive advantage. It is actually not related to sustainability, but just for the in order to for the businessman to get the maximum benefit out of their products, out of their processes of the organization. But we will incorporate the Porter model into the concept of sustainability as well. Now, the Porter introduced this value chain model for the businesses so that they can employ it to analyze their entire range of activities and comprehend their interconnection, that how one process is linked to the other process. The manner in which these activities are executed within the value chain directly obviously impact the cost and also obviously would influence the profitability. Okay. So it consists of two types of activities. One, we have primary activities that represent the core processes involved in the creation, production, and delivery of the product or services. These you can see on your screens include the inbound logistics that involves the processes related to sourcing, receiving, storing the raw materials or input for the production. For example, the transportation process, that how you are getting your raw materials, how you are operating all the machineries in your business or the organizations, the factory, etc., and how you are storing the raw materials. All of this is including the inbound logistics, that is incoming into your business. All those things, all those resources coming into your businesses would be the inbound logistics. The next one is operations. That includes the activities that are involved in converting raw materials into finished products or services. Obviously, your products or services. Next, we have outbound logic. As the name applies, that it focuses on the distribution and delivery of the final products to the customers or to the consumers. The next we have marketing and sales. It includes the activities that are aimed at promoting and selling the product or service to target the customers. And the third one of the primary activity, according to the Porter model, is the customer service. It involves providing support and assistance to the customers post-purchase or after they have purchased your product, your service. So the post-purchase or after the purchasing of this product or the service, how are you able to help your consumers or your customers to ensure the satisfaction and loyalty? Now, to support the primary activities effectively, the businesses must also engage in secondary activities like technological development and administrative functions. Now, on your screen, you can see the supporting activities or the secondary activities of, according to the Porter model, and these are infrastructures. Infrastructures include all the system, processes, and the resources that support the entire value chain. Then human resource management involves the activities related to recruiting, hiring, training, and retaining the employees. Now, the technological development involves efforts to improve product, processes, and systems through innovation and technology. And the final one is procurement, that involves the acquisition or attainment of the inputs or the resources needed for the value creation of the processes. Now, the Porter model, the each and every step of the Porter model, if you apply this sustainable concept, the concept of sustainability, for example, if you are going to apply sustainability concept into inbound logistics, number one primary activity, so you would get what? Like, from where you are receiving the raw material, you have to consider that as well. The person or the company that is providing you with the raw material, either it is abiding by the regulations and rules of the sustainability, either they are their activities are sustainable, eco-friendly, people-friendly, or society-friendly. Are they incorporating into the CSR practices as well? It is the responsibility of the businessman to consider all these points. Similarly, your operations, like conversion of the raw material into products, are those sustainable? Are those environmental friendly? Are those not wasting the resources? Then obviously outbound logistics, how you are distributing and delivering the final product to the customer, and how you are uh, uh, promoting or selling your products, what type of practices you are using into selling of your product or to promoting the product, and obviously what type of customer service are you providing to the customer. So each and every aspect, each and every step of these primary activities as well as the secondary activities, you need to consider the concept of sustainability as much as possible. As much as you can do, obviously you need to consider the profit of your organization as well, not just for the environment, as already discussed. Now, according to the Porter, what steps should be taken to analyze all these aspects for your business? Number one step is you have to understand the value chain. You have to have a comprehensive or complete understanding of the entire value chain. This involves like mapping out all the activities involved in creation, production, and delivery of your product and services. You have to consider, as I already mentioned, as I already said, that you have to consider each and every step of overall of each and every step of your whole value chain. Okay. The second one is you have to identify the primary and support activity. After the identification, obviously you have to identify that which activity is the primary one and which one is the secondary or support activity within your organization. Now, keep in mind that primary activities are those that are directly contributing to the creation of the value, creation of the product, or creation of the profit in businessman term, while the support activities or the secondary activities are those activities that enable the primary activities to function efficiently. These are actually primary activities are dependent on the secondary activities. So you have to maintain a or you have to keep in mind the differences between the two activities. Next, you would analyze each activity to determine its contribution to the value creation and competitive advantage. That each and every activity, which one has what sort of value, how much value in terms of what profitability, or maybe in regards to the competitiveness. Assess how much or how each activity is impacting the product quality, customer satisfaction, or overall profitability, as I already mentioned. And after this analysis, you would identify the area where your company holds a competitive advantage compared to the rival. Obviously, most of the processes in the similar industries are similar, right? So you have to create a difference, or you have to know the difference that where your product would be better as compared to the your rival's product. Like, at the same time, you have to pinpoint the areas where improvement can be made to enhance the efficiency. If you do not have any competitive benefit over your rival, so you would have to pinpoint the area where you can improve uh, those processes, or maybe this, for example, storage of raw material, or some of the processes of making process, that how you can enhance the efficiency, how you can reduce the cost, or maybe create a difference from your competitor, maybe a different product, maybe a side product, or maybe something else like that. Then after that, you have to identify the cost drivers. That is, you have to understand the cost structure associated with each and every activity. You have to identify the key cost drivers for each activity, that which process is creating how much cost, is requiring how much cost, and how much profit it would get. So in this way, you would be able to evaluate the impact of overall profitability. This is the major concern of a businessman, right? So at this step, you would be able to differentiate that how much resources you are inputting into your business and how much you would be getting back. Then we have step number 6, that is developing strategies. Now, based on this analysis that you have conducted on the previous 4 or 5 steps, you have to develop strategies to capitalize on areas of competitive advantage and address the areas of improvement. This is where you would gather all those information that you have gathered in the previous 5 points, and you would create something or any strategy to improve the profitability, as well as obviously in regards to sustainability as well. And then lastly, you would implement your strategy, whatever you have strategy you have devised according to your business, according to your organization's activity, and you would implement it. And monitoring it is very essential. Obviously, you have to monitor in order to further improve your profitability while considering sustainable concept of sustainability as well. Now, let's take an example of Tesla Incorporation by using the portal model concept. Now, this is the chart that is describing all the primary activities and the secondary activities of the Tesla Incorporation. For example, the primary activities of the Tesla include, you are aware of the Tesla company, right? It's the leader, and I think it's one of the leading company in electrical vehicle industry. So let's take that how Tesla using the Porter model and how they can improve the activities in terms of sustainability. For example, the primary activities related to specifically related to the activities of the Tesla would include sourcing raw materials and component for the electric vehicles. Obviously, they are maintaining strong relationship with their suppliers, so they are getting profitable or at manageable prices of the raw material. Then during and the operations, obviously the operation in the textile manufacturing operations are different as compared to other different businesses, right? So the operations in the textile manufacturing are characterized by, like for example, they are obviously leader, not only in name. They have innovative production processes. They have cutting edge technologies to produce their components, like their battery system, their vehicle assembling, like their control units. So obviously they have more efficient and quality control uh, points during the operations. Similarly, the outbound logistics, they have their own, like for example, they are focusing on delivering vehicles to the customer in a timely and cost effective manner. Keep in mind that this portal model of the Tesla is not according to CSR, is not according to sustainability, but according to what uh, the Tesla deems best. Okay, so their marketing and sales, obviously, they are employing unique marketing and sales strategy that is emphasizing brand awareness, that is emphasizing the product differentiation. For example, they were the first one to create electric vehicles, right? Not running on the fossil fuel, and obviously they are creating customer engagement as well through their marketing strategies. They have successfully built a loyal customer base. You must have noticed, right? These leading car companies have their own loyal customer bases. You cannot just change the minds of their loyal customer into buying from another company, right? So they are in this is their specific, those are actually their the requirements needed by those customers, and their way of marketing their products is actually creating those loyal customers. Then obviously Tesla is prioritizing the customer service and is supporting to enhance the ownership experience for the customers. They are training their drivers that how they would be able to drive their car in an efficient way, etc., etc., etc. Similar is the case with their support activity. For example, they are securing the best possible uh, terms and pricing from the suppliers while maintaining high standard and quality. Obviously, their product is very high standard and have high quality, and obviously their product is sustainable, right? Then their technology development, the support activity is obviously is one of the leaders in the technological regime. So they are focusing on one, innovation in the automotive industry. They are continuously innovating uh, new ideas, how to improve their vehicular, uh, maybe their processes or new models of their car, fuel consumption, etc. Now, the Tesla is places a strong emphasis on the talent acquisition, development, and retention to support, obviously, its ambitious growth objective. They are attracting top engineer and design talents from around the world and offers a competitive compensation packages and career advancement opportunities to its employees. Obviously, by giving all those opportunities to its employee, they are actually making the employees their loyal, creating loyal employees, right? So this is how they're managing their human resources. And obviously their infrastructure, they have fine organization structure, corporate governance, strategic decision making process. It has everything. Okay, now its sustainable attributes or aspects are added here. Obviously Tesla is striving for the green product, obviously, because for example it's the electric vehicles were considered uh, uh, what can I say, innovative, because they are not using the fossil fuels, right? They are not creating carbon dioxide generation, carbon dioxide gases into the atmosphere, or the nitrogen oxides, right? So but we are not 100% sure, not even the company, that each and every aspect of the whole value chain is sustainable or not. So in order to create 100% or maybe 90% sustainable product, the end product is not actually the main thing. Whole value chain these primary and secondary activities, as you can see that how they are managing their primary activities, how they are managing their support activities or secondary activities. So they have to incorporate the sustainability principles in each and every aspect in order to create a 90% or 100% sustainable product. Now, there's an organization known as Boston Consulting Group, BCG, and they have actually launched, or they put forth a document that was, I would quote the statement, how to tell if your business model is creating environmental and social benefits. And this actually book or the document explore the sustainable business model innovation and tells us the how companies can assess whether their initiative contribute to the environment and the societal benefit. So this was actually an attempt to address the growing financial materiality of the environmental and social topics. Financial institutes, some other financial institutes are also building new capabilities to pursue emerging financing opportunities and better management of ECG related risk, right? So actually what they did was they developed a quadrant metrics, as you can see on your screens. It includes 4 parts. Okay, as you can see, stars, question mark, cash cow, and pet. Now, this growth share matrix is actually a portfolio management framework that helps the companies to decide how to prioritize their different businesses by their degree of profitability. Okay. Now, the BCG actually growth and share matrix, or I would say they develop a quadrant matrix, involve four squares or 4 market share, which I'm going to discuss now. The first one is star. Now, the stars are the products of an organization, of a business, of a company, which are in high growth market, and they make up sizable portion of that market. So they are considered stars, and the organization considers these stars that they should be invested in. Okay. Now the stars generate high income, but obviously because they are in high growth market, they are in high demand. So obviously they would also consume large amount of company cash. So the investing in sustainable innovations, if we are considering the point of sustainable business in here in this growth share matrix by BCG, if we are investing in the sustainable innovations to maintain a high growth and market share, this would be how the business would become somewhat sustainable. Next, we have cash cows. Now, cash cows are the products that are in low growth areas, but for which the company has relatively large market shares. Now, these are actually, as you can see, they are seen in the lower left quadrant. They are actually the leading products in the mature market. These are the product, the cash cow, as the name suggests. They often generate returns or the profit that are higher than the market growth rate. They sustain themselves from a cash flow perspective. These products should be taken advantage of as long as possible. These are actually the products that people buy. They do not have a high value in terms of their maybe quality, but these are the products that are in very high demand. So the organizations actually get high benefits from these cash cow, hence the name cash cow. Now, focusing on the operational efficiencies and cost saving measures in the creation of these cash cow, for example, operational efficiencies like how these are manufactured, how these are produced in the industries. If you are focusing on these processes and focus on new innovative ways of creating these processes in low cost, so obviously they are already in high demand, they are already being bought by the people, they would obviously benefit the organization, not only in terms of profitability, but also in terms of sustainability. Next, we have the question mark. The question mark are the questionable opportunities. These are actually in high growth rate. The growth rate is very high, but in which the company doesn't maintain large market share. The company is not maintaining a large market share, but these are in high growth. They have very high growth share. Now, these question mark typically grow fast, but consume large amount of company resources. Obviously, because it has high growth share, so it is consuming large amount of company resources. Now, these, because they are consuming large amount of company resources because they have high growth rate, so these products should be analyzed frequently and closely to see if they're worth maintaining. If they're worth maintaining, so the process would go on or to continue. Otherwise, these products should be discarded. Now, using sustainability or sustainable practices in these this quadrant of the matrix, that is question mark, the businessman can gain market share of these products, and then it can be converted into star because it has high growth, already high growth, right? So low market share would increase when the businessman would try to engage all the process into the sustainable ones. So it can be converted into stars if you are incorporating the concept of sustainability into the question. And then we have dogs or pet, which is considered uh, just something that has low growth rate, low market share. These are present in the lower right corner of the. These are actually the products or the services that do not generate much cash for the company because they have low market share and little to no growth. So evaluation of the sustainability improvement to either rejuvenate these units or phase them out or to just cancel them out. These pet, this area of the quadrant can help the businessman into either increasing its profitability or reducing the cost of the whole process. Now, using this growth share matrix, BCG, the company that has devised this, that is Boston Consulting Group, BCG, has identified several strategies through which not only itself but other companies can achieve financial benefit from the sustainability. What they are doing is actually incorporating sustainability into this growth share matrix in a way that you can see the area highlighted on your screen, the area highlighted in blue, these 6 points. First is reducing operational cost. Obviously, by observing that which product is utilizing high amount of resources but giving a very low market share, uh, the businessman can obviously decide that how to tackle this problem, how to minimize the operational cost of just specifically those products. Same is the case with reducing the cost of capital. Sustainable practices, implementing sustainable practices that lead to significant cost saving in the operation. For example, or the input of the capital or finances into the this. Third one is employee engagement. Obviously, by engaging the employee, this is very, very, very essential. I would say that if your employee, if the employee of the organization of a business is satisfied, the productivity obviously would improve, right? You can satisfy your employee, you can engage your employee by either giving financial benefits or either attracting talents, like transparently selecting those people who are talented, not on the base of, for example, their familial terms. Then new revenue stream, that is attracting investment from attracting investment from, for example, socially responsible investors who are interested in the corporate social responsibility or the principles of sustainability, and assessing the capital to those uh, socially responsible investors or organizations who are sustainability linked would obviously help the businessmen grow their business in the direction of sustainability. And obviously, last one is market evaluation. Obviously, you have to look for, sorry, premium prices. You have to retain, you have to keep the prices according to the demand, according to the uh, cost of the capital, and according to what type of customers you are dealing with. And same is the case with the market evaluation, that what type of market you are putting your product into, what type of customers are present, what are their demands, what type of stakeholders are present, like for example, what type of regulatory environment is in the market, what type of rules and regulations are to be employed in the synthesis of the product or in the manufacturing of the product and services, etc. So following uh, these growth share metrics, and then incorporating this one into these six principles or the six aspects devised by the BCG company strategies, a company can achieve financial benefit from the sustainability. But keep in mind that all these functions or all these aspects are actually what they depend on your business, your product, and what type of services you are providing. Okay, next is a term TINN. You might have heard of it. It's actually total impact measurement and management. It's actually a flexible framework that enables the business to develop a better understanding of how to create sustainable value for their shareholders while generating value for the wider communities they affect. Now, actually, TIMM is the acronym for Total Impact Measurement Management, as you can see on your screen, that it is a holistic view of social, environmental, fiscal, and economic dimensions. It takes a big picture. It's working on a big picture, actually. And it looks beyond the inputs and output to outcomes and impacts, actually, not the inputs and output. It do not only consider what would be input, what would be output, but it is actually focusing on the outcomes and impacts. That is type of footprint that the business, your organization is leaving behind. It is also able to quantify and monetize the impacts, and obviously able to evaluate options and optimize trade-offs, make better decisions. Now, the key attributes of the TINM or Total Impact Measurement and Management is, obviously, as I already mentioned, it measures impact both to the society and to the business. It is related. It has a holistic view, right? Backwards and forward looking. It focuses not only the future of your product, future of your activities, but it is also looking back, like that what you have done in the past as well, what activities or what were the consequences of the activities of certain business in the past as well. It is flexible, obviously, for different boundaries, like if geographical or type of impact, etc. It is flexible to enable focus on the material impact, monetization of the impact. Also, it has a balanced understanding of the impact. It is consistent and comparable. It provides consistent and comparable information. And obviously, it helps the production of the decision ready or useful information. And how it does that, we will be discussing in the next slides. Now, in practice, using the TMM, in order to understand this concept, let's take an example of a hypothetical or imaginary organization or a business. Okay, so let's take an example of a brewer company, for example, in Africa, and it needs barley, right, for the brewing of its services, products, right? So the key strategic questions here would be either the company should import that barley from, for example, a country A, or it should locally grow crop or use the locally grown crop. Now, point to consider here that that company or the business need to consider or is considering obviously would include what? The capital, the revenue expenditure, the potential risk, for example, the regulatory change in the area where it is present, and as well as the area where it is thinking of importing the barley from. And also it has to also consider like environmental and social impacts, implication of the business like their reputation or the changes in the consumer attitude, etc. Now, this brewer wants a balanced or holistic analysis to support his decision, right? That what it should do with either importing the barley from country A or it should use the locally grown crop. So it want to consider an approach that compares the total long-term impact of using barley with that of a locally grown alternative or with the one that will be imported from the country A. So it needs a platform or a framework where it needs to make decision regarding either to do what, option 1 or option 2, grow and secure locally or import barley. Now, how the TIMM would be used here. As I already mentioned, the brewer has two options. It can import barley from country A or it can grow an alternative crop locally where it is present, right? Each option has a different social, tax, economic, environmental, as well as financial implication, right? So here, the TIMM can be used to measure and value not only the business financial performance, but also the societal cost and benefit of each of the options. On your screen, you can see a simplified analysis of the pros and cons of each strategy. As you can see, the summaries of the results of TMM analysis for the two options. There one is option 1, another is option 2. Okay, and it is in the figures you can see a circle and a mix of circle and a bar. Now each bar represent a positive that is colored in green or negative that is colored in red impact. The inner circle represent the expected return to the shareholders. Okay, the different impacts can be compared and aggregated, and this is how the TIMM would help the brewer to weigh the options and which one is the best and which one is not good for the business. Now, in this example, for instance, in the absence of, for example, if TIMM, this total impact thinking wasn't present, so in the absence of this thinking, the decision would have been made largely using financial analysis only, right? This is what the business is about, right? Thinking of finances only. So TIMM brings new perspective, right? You can see that by using TIMM and putting value on the qualitative aspects, the total impact of each decision is clear, and the many trade-offs between option 1 and 2 are easy to identify. It is immediately obvious that there are two key trade-offs that need to be considered. Now, either reduce greenhouse gas versus increase water usage in the gas emission, more water scarce location. For example, if the brewer is opting for both of these, he needs to compromise between these two things. By selecting one option, he would select greenhouse gases, or by selecting the other, he would get what? Increased water usage or increased gas consumption in the area where it is scarce. The other trade-off is improved societal versus an increased use of an already outcome scarce water resources in these same communities. So TIM, as you can see, that it is not actually able to provide the exact answer, okay, but it gives the management of that business a significantly more information with which to make more informed decision, not only on the base of the financial terms, but also in the terms of qualitative overlays as well. And it is also able to communicate the rationale for that decision with their multiple stakeholders in a way that they will be able to understand why this brewer wants to take that specific decision. Okay. Next, we have another concept that is sustainability reporting, not integrated reporting, sustainability reporting. Now, there's a difference. Please do not mix these two terms with each other. Sustainability reporting is actually the report that would help the organization setting goals and uh, managing change that is related to the sustainability globally. Okay, but the integrated reporting, as we have already discussed, it is only focusing on reporting the value creation of entities by integrating all different types of reporting. Okay, so the sustainability reporting is a large term. Now, the as we have been discussing over and over again, that because scarce resources, because of many problems, and because of the obviously regulations, the industries, the businesses, they need to require a sustainable related information in some form to their stakeholders or to the government, obviously. Could be due to obviously because of very many mandatory requirements relating to the jurisdiction, because the organization is a part of the value chain sustainability reporter, right? So, or it could be because of other things that I am going to discuss later on. So, giving out or providing a sustainable report in any form is essential nowadays because of the increasing concerns regarding the concept of sustainability. Now, the sustainability report provides complete transparency in communicating the progress and efforts of an organization, of a business in terms of sustainability. And the reporting and the main drivers for the sustainability reporting could be, as I already mentioned, regulatory requirements. The governments, they have put forth many laws that organizational businesses need to explain that how they are maintaining sustainable practices into their organization. Or it could be because of the stakeholders or the investors that are pressuring the businessman or organization to give out a sustainability report of their processes, of their products, of their services. And obviously, it is important because in order to manage the risk and in order to manage the repute of the organization, and obviously, it has competitive advantage as well if one company in related to similar business is not providing sustainability report because it is not engaging into sustainable practices. So, your product or your services that is engaging itself in the sustainable practices and is providing sustainability reporting in any form to the stakeholders, to the regulatory bodies, to the local people would be obviously preferred. Now, these are the seven essential steps of sustainable reporting that in order to prepare a sustainable report, in order to give out a sustainable, you need to uh, keep in mind the businessman or the businesses or the organization need to keep in mind these seven steps. First is you have to engage the stakeholders. Okay, you have to prepare or give the report in a way that it is engaging the stakeholders in effective manner. They all are able to understand what and whys of your uh, theories or your reporting or your processes. The second one is conduct materiality assessment. Give out your assessment regarding the materials you are using. Then you have to gather and analyze the data, compile a report. Then verification and assurance is obviously important. Verification and assurance in previous lecture, I have already mentioned that you cannot uh, give this verification assurance yourself. You have to give this task to a third party. It could be an accreditation body, or it could be an NGO, or it could be auditing, auditors, etc. Okay? Then, after the preparation of this whole report, you have to communicate it effectively as well. You have to be able to tell everyone each and everything about your processes, your sustainability practices, and everything. And obviously, improvement and iteration. That after the communication, you have to monitor all the processes again and again, and then you will be able to improve your reporting, the sustainability reporting, your sustainability practices, etc. Okay. Now that was how the sustainability reporting is generally reports are generally prepared. But here are some frameworks who are also designed to guide the people or the organization or the business into preparation or into making of this sustainability reporting by giving out different standards or different guidelines. These are actually, number one is CDP, that is Carbon Disclosure Project. We have also CDSB, that is Climate Disclosure Standards Board. We have GRI, that is Global Reporting Initiative. We have IIRC, that is International Integrated Reporting Council. We have SASB, that is Sustainability Accounting Standard Board. We have TCFD, Task Force on Climate Related Disclosure, etc. Okay. Now, these are the framework. Each and every standard or the framework actually deals with a different scope of topics from narrow. That is, for example, it has major focus on greenhouse gas emission, for example, to the broader ones, for example, including or encompassing all of the ESGs or the entire range of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And each of these framework and standard cater to different range of audiences from narrow set of stakeholders, like for example, just the investors, to the broader groups, including customers, employees, and society that is being benefited or have negative impacts of your activity. So basically, these are the standards and framework actually gives us what type of your audiences, uh, what type of issues you are dealing with. So it depends on that, and what framework you will choose depend on obviously what type of stakeholders you are engaging, and obviously what type of issues you are treating it. On your screen, you can see a matrix of all these frameworks, and from this matrix you can decide that what type of framework you have to follow into preparation or giving out your sustainability reporting. Now, for example, if a business executive wants to report on a specific risk that climate change present to its financial results, they can choose the CDSP, a specific standard, or TCFD, a broad framework, because it is dealing with a broad framework, right? The whole concept of climate change, and obviously the audience or the stakeholders that obviously the audience and the stakeholders that are being engaged here would be multi stakeholders, not just the investors and not just the society. So they can select this framework. Companies looking to report on a wide range of issues, such as companies' contribution to, okay, such as SDGs, for example, they can use SASP and IRRC, which has now merged the Value Code Initiative. Now, if they have broader scope, like SDGs, but they have narrow audience, like for example the investors, they would choose what? SASP and IRC. Again, if they want to, for example, they have reporting, the scope of reporting is very broad, like SDGs as a whole, or the ESGs as a whole, and they have also broad audience, like multiple shareholders, not only investors, not only societies, but they have to also engage NGOs. Also, you have to also engage the governments. They would obviously select what? GRI or WEF-IBC or COP. So using this metrics, the businessmen or the businesses or the organization can easily pinpoint which framework they need to select depending on the audiences and depending upon the scope of reporting. Now, we have been, since the day one, we have been discussing sustainability, right? And today we are incorporating sustainability into business practices. Which is actually very important because the eco services or the resources are facing challenges, and the businesses faces obviously are becoming rare, are becoming sparse, and obviously the businesses and the organizations are facing challenges in procuring these resources, right? So some of these challenges in the 21st century that you can see on your screens are, you can see these, and those which are encircled red are the important ones, specifically for the businesses and the organizations that are creating products, that are creating businesses. The one is mitigating environment and ecological damage. Challenge number one, unequal share of wealth. Challenge number two, and the conflict and war. These are the three major ones that are impacting the businesses and the organizations in the creation of their, in the providence of their products and their services. How? For example, number one, that is mitigating environmental and ecological damage. Now, mitigation of all the negative impacts. We have, I guess, millions of research papers, millions of strategies presented in the newspaper, presented in the universities, presented in the conferences regarding how to mitigate the impacts of our activities on the environment, on the ecological. But are they really beneficial? No. The global warming that is increasing rapidly and is also negatively impacting the society. The ice losses are rapidly spreading deep into the Antarctic Ocean. The warming of the ocean is also resulting in glaciers sliding into the sea. So basically, all those mitigation practices are doing nothing right now, right? And this whole aspect, this whole concept of global warming, this whole concept of climate change is doing what? It is actually making the procurement of these resources for the businesses, for the organization more difficult. right? So the decisions that we are making today will affect the nature of the ecosystem of our planet. So what sort of decision those businesses are making now, what sort of decisions that have they made in the past is actually, we can see the impacts everywhere. And it is obviously affecting those businessmen who were getting profit from all these eco services, but they are now unable to benefit from these services because it is difficult now to get those services. The second one is unequal share of wealth. Obviously, the world wealth in the form of either it is in a form of resources, either in the form of finances, either in the form of technology, it's not equally distributed, right? So the fight for the resources is going on all over the world. So this is also making difficult for the businesses to achieve their goals because all the resources are not distributed equally. And the third one that has major impact on the activities of the businesses, that is giving major challenges to the business, conflict and war. Like the wars we see that it is often triggered because one place wants access of some particular resources that are present in a place B, and they start fighting or they start creating a war, right? And it is increasing because of the climate change. Obviously, the people want to shift from one place to another, from obviously move towards a better place, right? So this is creating war. In addition to obviously some major social societal problems like ethnicity, like religions, etc. But these actually the conflicts and wars are actually creating major challenges for the businesses, for the organization to operate uh, effectively. Now, these whole 21st century challenges that the businesses and organizations are facing, they can be somewhat minimized or mitigated by using the waste hierarchy principle that you can see on your screens. That includes prevention. Do not produce the waste. That's as simple. If you are able to, then you shouldn't produce the waste. Prevention is the best practice. Next would be reduce. Try to reduce the waste. Try to reduce the waste from your processes, from your usage, from collection of the raw material, etc. The third one is if you cannot reduce the waste, then try to reuse some of the products that have been discarded away. For example, like the plastic can be reused. Some type of plastics can be reused. Some types of like tires can be reused as well. If you are not able to reuse some of those products, you can recycle them. You can create a new purpose out of those discarded products or maybe the services. And if you cannot recycle, then you need to recover. Like, for example, you can recover metals from the batteries, waste batteries, because if you are not able to recycle those batteries, you can just, because obviously it has some capacity to be, it can be reused up to some extent, right? And after that, it would not be able to be used again. So you need to recover important material, metal from those batteries and then use those recovered material in any other form. And then if you are not able to recover as well, then obviously last option is disposal, which is obviously not preferred, especially after uh, all those challenges those businesses and those organizations are facing regarding the procurement of the resources. Now, just the production of the just the production of the products or the creation of the services is not the only thing that businesses and organizations need to consider. They also need to consider the wastage as waste of their processes, waste of their products, waste of their services, waste of their activities needs to be considered. Now, many companies fail to see how much their waste processes are costing them. Like, waste is just not a waste. Not waste is not only giving harms or affecting harmfully to the society, not only affecting harmfully to the people, not affecting harmfully to the ecosystem, but also to the businessmen, because they consider waste as a waste, but waste is actually not just a waste. This waste that they are producing, the activities they're producing, have a cost as well. So they fail to see how much their waste processes are costing them. If they can be linked to the iceberg principle, where only 1/10 of the iceberg is visible and 9/10 is hidden, and that is the part that can do the most damage, which obviously is being ignored by the business and organization. Like, people only see the tip of the iceberg. People are only seeing just uh, uh, the waste that they have put into the ground, but not the 9/10 of this whole concept, which is actually creating more damage, not to only to the ecosystem, but to them as well, because as I already mentioned, the waste has a cost. So what should they do? They need to consider, for example, if there is a cleaning company, for example, or any other company, they need to consider that they how long their staff take to clean their bins, the bins that contains the waste, how much liners that they are wasting when they are emptying their bins. Obviously, the waste is present into the bins, not directly, but some sort of liner is layered onto the bins, and then waste is put into those bins. So what sort of or how much liner that they are wasting, how full their bins are, how long does it take to change those bins, how many liners they are using on one bin to prevent the bag splitting, how does it take how long does it take to clean up the spillage if the bin liner split, what is the cost in time to clean up the spillage, etc., etc., etc. So these are many aspects that we need to consider, not just the amount of the waste, but the processes that are needed to discard that waste as well. So we need to be aware and more focused on the whole iceberg rather than just the tip. So how do we do this? Obviously, many ways have been devised, but obviously that would depend upon what type of practices, what type of products, or what type of processes your organization is doing, right? So the general process to uh, get that not only the tip of the iceberg, but to get the remaining 9/10 of the iceberg would be calculating the true cost of the waste. Now, true cost of the waste can be calculated by these simple methods like, number one, you have to identify what type of waste you are producing. And the type of waste are actually the waste that is produced from the overproduction. That is the waste that is producing more than what the processes that are producing more than what is needed or before it is needed. For example, uh, if you are working in a bakery that makes more bread than it can sell, this would have to be thrown away, right? Because the unsold loaves will not be sold after 3 or 4 days, right? So this would be the overproduction. The second category of waste is waiting. This is the waste of idle times when the workers or the machines or the materials are not ready or available. This can cause delays, bottleneck and low productivity. For example, a construction worker who has to wait for the cement mixture to arrive will not be able to complete his task on time. So maybe there are chances that some of the construction material gets contaminated or destroyed during the process. Of this would be a waste as well, right? Then we have the transportation. Transportation is the waste of unnecessary movement or handling of material products or information. This can increase the risk of damage, loss, or errors. Then we have the waste in a form of overprocessing, that is the waste of doing more work or adding more feature than what is required or valued by the customer. For example, a software developer who adds a feature that the customer does not need or want. Obviously, it would waste the resources, the time, etc. Right? Then we have the inventory. This is the waste of excess stock or materials that are not being used or processed. Like, for example, a retailer who has ordered too many clothes for a season, he will have to store them or sell them at a discount, right? So this is a type of waste as well. Then we have motion. This type of waste is the unnecessary movement or motion of the workers, machine, or equipment. Obviously, it is also not only costing us the energy, it is also costing us the fuel and the energy of the workers. Then we have the last type of waste, that is defects. The defects is the type of waste of products or services that do not meet the quality standard for the customers. The low quality products that are produced obviously would go to waste. Now, after the identification of type of waste, you have to measure the impact. You have to quantify the impact of the waste by assessing the financial implications, like how much cost, how much energy, how much resources you have utilized in the creation and while dumping this waste. In terms of money, in terms of then you have to analyze process inefficiencies. Like you have to conduct a thorough analysis of the process to identify inefficiencies and waste. This can be done through mapping, value stream analysis, data collection, that why the process are creating all this waste. What sort of inefficiencies are present in the whole, for example, value chain, that what sort of processes are creating all this messy waste. Then you have to finally calculate the cost of the waste. Like you have identified the waste, you have measured and then assigned the monetary values in each type of waste, then you would obviously calculate the cost by estimating direct and indirect costs associated with each waste category. And this cost can be calculated. There are two more usually used methods. The first one is cost of poor quality, COPQ approach. It involves identification of measuring the expenses incurred due to defects, rework, customer complaints, etc. By quantifying the cost associated with the poor quality, organizations can gain a better understanding of the financial impact of the waste. Another approach is the activity-based costing, that is ABC method. It focuses on allocating cost to specific activities within a process. Now, keep in mind that which type of method you're gonna approach or you're gonna use depends upon the type of activities your organization or business is conducting, the type of activities you are trying to focus on. It's not necessary that the organizations or the business are gonna focus on each and every aspect of each and every type of the waste, obviously. Okay. And after the calculation, you have to consider the could have byproduct formation, that if we haven't, if for example, if the waste that we have produced, can it be used as a byproduct? Can it be sold in to other industries to use as a raw material, etc. So this would also benefit the organization as well. That is, with maybe there is a chance that your waste is actually not a waste but actually a byproduct, or maybe it could be a source of raw material for the organization. Now, regarding all this waste and the resource deficiencies, we have a very important, very important concept, that is circular economy. And the butterfly diagram of circular economy you can see on your screen. It is very important because it is actually uh, a regenerative system, and it is related to, very much related to what we are discussing today. Now, a circular economy is a regenerative system in which resources, the input, the waste, the emissions, the leakage of energy are minimized by slowing, closing, or narrowing the material energy loops. This can be achieved through a long-lasting design, maintenance, repair, reuse, remanufacturing, refurbishing, and recycling. It's actually a sustainable approach to product development, and it focus on eliminating waste and pollution, keeping products in use, and regenerating the natural system. Now, it is called a butterfly diagram because it, as you can see, that it has a shape of a butterfly, right? And you can see that it has two parts. The one is biochemical feedstock, the other is technical part. The biological part you can see on your left side, and the technological or technical part you can see on your right side. Now, the biological are obviously, as the name suggests, contain natural material like food or cotton to produce, for example, clothes. Now, these materials can be safely and productively returned to the biosphere, and the biosphere would result in the would actually do what it would regenerate, right? All the biological material, like if you throw the wood, you can use the, for example, the food waste as a fertilizer, right? This fertilizer would in turn give you food in the form of carbohydrates, right? This is the way the biological resources that we are getting from the ecosystem is converted into another form of eco service, or it is regenerated. The other is the technical cycle. It is very different from the biological one, as the name suggests. Obviously, here the component cannot be returned to the biosphere. For example, if you have extracted metals and alloys from the ecosystem, okay, and after the usage, you cannot just throw into the ecosystem and it will be regenerated. No, you have to keep these elements in the cycle by circulating it as long as possible, like by using the waste hierarchy. You have to reuse, you have to recycle, you have to uh, regenerate, etc. Because these technological aspects are not able to be regenerated. So this process of circular economy, please make sure that the biological and technical eco services are not eco services, or the services or the cycles are not to be intermingled. These are two separate entities, and they have to have a separate uh, uh, place or placement in the whole value chain of your organization, of your product processing, etc. Okay, so by using this circular economy model, this butterfly diagrams, the businesses will not be able to reduce the cost of their activities, would not be able to not only able to generate the profit, but would also be able to save the ecosystem and get the resources efficiently and quickly. Now, this is just a difference between the linear economy, recycling economy, and the circular economy. As you can see, the linear economy only deals with take, make, use, and waste. That's it. The recycle economy also only includes take, make, use, and then recycle, and then the cycle goes on. Then, but eventually a waste is created. But in a circular economy, each and every part of the waste has the ability to be used again and again as long as possible. So this is the circular economy, and it has obviously the major benefit, as I already mentioned, tackling of the climate change, biodiversity loss simultaneously. It is eliminating waste and pollution and circulating the resources, uh, sustainable business, obviously, sustainable practices would create the sustainable practices, obviously would benefit not only the businessman, not only the organization, also to the society. It would also create jobs, prosperity, and resilience, obviously, because you are going to create more and more innovative ways of using, utilizing the waste produced by your services and by your products, by your byproducts or by the waste of your products. So obviously it would create more jobs and reduce the natural consumption, natural resources consumption. Now, the circular economy, the concept gives 5 circular business models as well, which I'm going to briefly discuss. The first one is circular inputs. Here, the renewable, recycled, or the highly recyclable inputs are used in the production processes, enabling partial or total elimination of waste and pollution. Waste here become an asset, not a liability, because obviously you are using this waste in another thing. The second one is sharing economy concept. Now, the born circular or the products that were based on the circular economy models, they maximize how idle assets are used across the community by providing customers with affordable and convenient access to products and services, like sharing of industrial assets like forklifts, machinery, warehouses, etc. You are actually sharing instead of making each and every organization or business owner uh, uh, making or buying some, for example, a forklift or a machinery or a warehouse which would be a total waste. But sharing of these resources would help, obviously, the concept of circular economy. Then the third one is product as a service. Here, the customer purchases a service for a limited time while the provider maintains the ownership of the product and remains incentivized for the product's ongoing maintenance, durability, upgrade, etc. Basically, what we are doing, the business or the organization producing a service or a product is actually renting out the service instead of selling it. So this would also help the cause of the circular economy, that is using minimum resources and maximizing the profitability. Then we have the product use extension. Here the circular products for example, in the linear economy, as you also see, you have previously seen that you sell your product to the next in line, and the primary interest in selling as many new products as possible. Whereas Bone Circular designs their business models, so they have basically what is product use extension. That is the usage, the extension of the usage of the product. That is, we are not just throwing away the product, but we are actually extending the use of that products. And the final one is the resource recovery. I'm just speeding up because we have less time now. We have resource recovery, that this concept actually focuses on the end stage of the usage cycle, namely the recovery of the embedded material, like what type of material was present, energy and resources from the product at the end of the usage that is no longer functional. Basically, you are doing what? Reusing or recovering material from the waste of the product. Okay. Then we have obviously the concept of effective communication with stakeholders. You have to have effective effectively communicate with the stakeholders in order to get your point across, in order to promote your business, in order to tell everyone that what type of sustainable practices are doing for the benefit of the organizations and for the benefit of the people. These are the general steps that you can obviously see on your screen. Step one is obviously transparent. Your information must be transparent. You have to give each and every information to the stakeholders, and you have to communicate in a way that is best for them. If the way of communication, social media as a way of communication is better for the stakeholders, you have to use that, because stakeholders are the ultimate listeners, the ultimate consumers, obviously the ultimate investors, obviously. So you have to keep in mind their convenience. Then you have to understand why a stakeholder is demanding a certain thing. You have to keep your mind open. Feedback is important. Obviously, you have to take feedback from the stakeholders and have to give feedbacks on the remarks of the stakeholders. And finally, you have to keep records of all of this. Now, there are 4 P's of the marketing. Obviously, 4 P's of the marketing are product, place, promotion, price. These are the major 4 P's. But with the concept of advancement of the concept of sustainability, concept of CSR, 2 more points were added into the 4 P's of the marketing. Those were people and the processes. These two P's are also needs to be incorporated into the business models by the businesses, by the organizations, in order to get the results that they want to get by applying sustainability into their business. Like innovating the processes, like for example, automation systems and processes that now are playing critical role in the marketing mix. In a report, Walmart and Amazon's successes are actually very much attributed to the process logistics. They are considering that how they can improve their processes in order to make maximum profit and in order to make maximum sustainable practices. Then you also have to consider the concept that people are the people, either the one they are buying their products, but also their employees. They need to be trained. They need to be properly trained, and they need to be hired on the basis of their expertise. Then we have obviously 2 types of marketing: social marketing and cause-related marketing. I'll just quickly go over it. The cause-related marketing is a marketing method where the businesses align themselves with a social issue or belief that are important to them and execute a campaign accordingly. For example, buy one get one, a donation, buy one give one. Like if you are going to buy one product, the other one would be donated to for a cause. Also, the Uber's Move What Matter campaign, the ride hailing and delivery company along with a delivery company using customers to stay at home rather than use service at the start of the COVID-19 lockdown. Then we have social marketing. It aims to promote behavior change or social good among individuals and society as a whole. It actually addresses social issues. For example, Say No to Drugs is a prominent social marketing campaign. Similarly, Reduce, Reuse, Recycle is a type of social marketing. But obviously, they have reputational risk. For example, for the social marketing, controversial topics are major times discussed, which are not welcome and by the people. Also, miscommunication can also happen, right? And during the cause-related marketing, it could be lead to the greenwashing. It could be lead to the over-promising, or maybe some organization they fail to deliver. So these cause-related. And then we have finally the market segmentation. The general methods are actually geographic segmentation, demographic, behavioral, and psychological, depending upon the where, who, how, and why. But there is another method of market segmentation according to sustainability, and it includes segmentation by IPSOS, that is Global Market Research and Public Opinion. They conducted experiment, and they found five type of segments of the market. Number one are activates, though consumer, though they prefer the key audience for the sustainable products and the services. Obviously, then number two, we have pragmatists. They likely to embrace new product policies if they are easy to adopt. They are not deterred by the cost, but if they find the product reasonable, they would buy it. If they don't find reasonable, they won't buy it. Then we have the conflicted contributors. Those are likely to support community-based policies, services, and welcome government intervention. And the sustainability are to be present as a co-benefit, not the major. So their major concern is not the concept of sustainability, but the community-based policies. Then we have the busy bystanders, more likely to engage with the frictionless product. They prioritize the convenience and routine instead of sustainability. And then we have the disengaged denialists. They have limited or to no care towards the environment. Okay, so these are the types of the market consumers based on the sustainability concept. I'm sorry, I had to speed it up. Now, since this was the last session of our diploma, I hope your journey with me was. I wish you all very best for your assignments and for the future plan. In case you need any guidance, be sure to give your inquiries, provide your inquiries into the WhatsApp group regarding today's lectures or regarding previous lectures. All the best.